What I'm about to show you is the exact routine I use every week to book 10 qualified meetings with our B2B customers. And it's exactly the same routine I used at my first company to get from 0 to 38 million in recurring revenue as a B2B business. It's tough, it's hard, it's sticky, but the top insight that I can give you is if you use this routine, not only will you hit the qualified meetings number consistently of 10, you'll also make sure you don't build the wrong product, focus on the wrong things, craft the wrong message and spend too much time on it, and spend a shitload of time on managing people, because this is the number one routine that actually adds leadership points and gives you character. And that might be something that sets you apart if this is your first business, your first B2B business, or just the first time that you're leading people in a motion or at a company. So let's get into it. So it's a 20-hour BD routine week, and it gets me 10 qualified meetings. The way that it works is I do it 5 days a week, and I operate between 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I do it in a 4-hour block. So I simply just get the hardest thing out of the way at the start of the day. Now, the reason I've built it this way is because I didn't want to disrupt my BD time, which is generating new leads, closing them, and booking a first meeting in any of the rest of my day or any of my sales process. The other reason I built it this way is I hated doing it. So if I got up and it was the first thing that I did, it cleared my guilt and anxiety for the rest of the day, and it got it out of the way so then I could focus on the shit that I like to do without feeling guilty why I like to do it. So how did it operate? Really simply, it's heavily focused on LinkedIn being the number one B2B platform for selling, generating leads. You can do a whole bunch of other stuff and you can insert other platforms if you wanted to do it, but I still think LinkedIn is best. So as I talk about it, I'm going to talk about the actions as they relate to LinkedIn. Monday, really simple. I spend 4 hours writing 3 to 5 posts for the week. Now, there's all these other things that you can do to optimize posts, but I just focus this 4 hours on writing 3 to 5 unique posts that I haven't written before that can attract me top of funnel or middle of funnel leads. Top of funnel being increasing my audience size, middle of funnel being pushing them into a CTA that can lock in a first meeting. So that's just Monday. It's a writing day. It's a creative day, and its outcome is 3 to 5 posts in 4 hours. Tuesday and Thursday, I'm focused on sending 30 to 50 direct messages, personalized with the right appeal and the right CTA value exchange to my named accounts. And I generally only have 1 to 10 named accounts at a time. And I keep working on those accounts until they say no or until I book a meeting. This is a great tool. We call it swarming, and it's heavily manual, but it's a great way of breaking into an account. And I do the simple connect, put it in the 300 character box and get the conversation going. I don't run any sneaky tactics. I just run that, and it gets me a great result and about a 35% conversion rate on the amount of meetings requests that I send out. So I do about 30 to 50 of those in a 4-hour period every Tuesday and Thursday. On Wednesday and Friday, on those named accounts, I'm running at least 70 to 100 direct message follow-ups on LinkedIn, and I'm following up with more value. Now, you might ask, why do I have 70 to 100? Really simple. If I'm compounding these direct messages over time, I'm going to get more connections as people sign in. Not everyone signs in every day. And I'm slowly going to build up to a nice pipeline and a nice conversation pipeline where I can send these follow-up direct messages. Now, remember, when you send these, they have to add value. You have to constantly be adding value, discerning if they're the right person. But if you're just nudging people, this approach doesn't work and can be really annoying. So that's why Monday, content writing, 3 to 5 posts that go out on LinkedIn. Tuesday, Thursday, 30, 50 DMs to my 1 to 10 named accounts, all in the connection request. So you just need premium. You don't even need Navigator if you want. And last but not least, Wednesday, Friday, 70 to 100 direct message follow-ups to those named accounts that I've already connected with, that I'm already in dialogue with. Maybe I've lost the thread, maybe they haven't said anything, and maybe I'm still chasing them. And that's my week. It is a huge task when you look at it on one page, but as you get better, it's built for efficiency. So you don't have to context switch between writing a post and sending out links. You can just stay in content writing. You don't have to context switch between too many accounts because we have a few named accounts. I do one named account on Tuesday, another named account on Thursday. And last but not least, follow-ups, you need a lot less context. All of the value items are the same. So it can become a high volume game really quickly that you can get out of the way in 4 hours. And all of a sudden, you've hit a nice 20-hour week in really quick time. You can feel resolved and you can get these 10 qualified meetings. Now, it might take a while for you to build up to that approach, but it is super easy if you just get started and you give it a go and you lock out your calendar. You don't need to do it between 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., but you should do it at the start of your day to break you in if you're finding this particularly hard to pick up. Now, what'll stop you doing this is you'll wait for proof. So you'll wait for more use cases before you start outreach. Don't do that. Your use cases will probably change over time as you do more volume and you figure out actually what the fit is with your message in the market, as well as your product. So I always do volume outreach to make sure I'm building the right thing. And the only way to figure that out is to service more customers. And you might be worried about rejection. And my simple rule for that reframe is you're going to be disliked whether you do something or not in life. So just do it. They're going to dislike you if you don't do the outreach. They're going to dislike you if you do. You may as well just go on with something that could generate you leads and meetings for your business and not worry about anyone thinks. And the rejection feeling will go away over time, not all the way to zero, but it will start to become into non-existence as you get more and more customers and you get more and more testimony and you keep going. And last but not least, you might also really feel the urge, especially when you're first starting, to take meetings in the time that you've got for BD. So you've booked a meeting, they're saying, hey, I can do 7 a.m. And you say, yes, because you're urgent. Don't do that. Do not break the discipline of keeping those 4 hours sacred because volume negates luck. And the easiest way to disrupt a 4-hour BD period is to slot a qualified meeting time in there. When someone says, can you do this time? Just write back, no, I can do these other times. And at that point, most people will just go, yep, no problem. Let's find out a time that works. But if you keep this period blocked, the pipeline will build, the volume will build. And if you don't, you will always take meetings in there. It will always disrupt the discipline and you'll never get fully across it. And you'll never get the volume that actually gets you to this number. But on the other hand, if you can overcome the things that stop you, you'll not only get the 10 qualified meetings a week, if you do this for 6 to 8 weeks, you will also get a clear mind because you're kicking it out of the way at the first of the day on the thing that you dislike. So you have less anxiety to do the things you like, whether it's actually talking with customers, closing the sale, or building a product. You'll have less attachment to your early sales. So you'll be less urgent. You'll offer less discounts. You'll be less desperate, which will fundamentally increase your close rate because you'll have so much volume and so many meetings, you won't be afraid to lose the deal. If you also keep this up over a long period of time, you will learn to love BD, and you should. Sales and marketing, generating leads, generating new conversations with customers will always be your job as a founder and a leader of a business. You will never be sitting in a dark, gloomy room, not doing anything if you're in B2B. So being out there and learning it early and loving it before you have a lot of staff, a system to run, investors to deal with, or partners to roll with is so much easier. So if you learn to love it early, which you will, like I did, you're best to do that now when you have less responsibilities and less on your shoulders. The other cool benefit of this is if you're always seen in front of your team, whether it's engineering, other salespeople, other marketing people, other product people, if you're out there leading booking meetings with new customers, it's the easy way to get leadership points. There'll be less HR issues. There'll be less internal conflicts if you're actually out there getting meetings with customers, showing that you're doing the work selling, because that's your role, and you'll help people get excited by it, and it'll give you some character as you hit with more rejection. And so you'll get this huge pool of leadership points just by putting in the work and applying this routine. And then over time, you can learn all the other skills of leadership as you build your company. But this can give you such an edge and such a space to figure out the leader you want to be, because it's compounding leadership points every week with these simple results as people see you deal with rejection, apply discipline, and get out there and try to acquire more customers. As you acquire more customers, there's more money to share. And then last but not least, if you continue this approach, you'll do volume. So rather than overthinking your communication and messaging, you're going to get messaging fit really fast, because you're simply going to be having more conversations. You're going to be trying more things. You're going to see what works, and you're going to see relief, which is going to allow you to do more work with people that are doing marketing for you, with you, and doing it as you yourself, which will actually compound the top of funnel, compound your audience size. And if you do this over time, you'll just keep getting better and better at it. And marketing, like sales, is another essential skill of a B2B founder. So that's my 20 hours a week. It will give you the 10 qualified meetings. It's broken down between Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday. It's designed around volume and doing it first in the morning. There are a lot of things that can get in your way. The main one is waiting for too much proof of rejection or breaking up the routine. But my final sort of tip for you is, if you can nail this routine early, before you have staff, before you have responsibilities, before you have huge fulfillment requirements, it's so much easier to nail this skill now, where you can spend all your time on it, versus try to nail it later when you've got staff asking for your help, where you've got customers asking for your help, where you've got investors asking where you're at. It'll be an extremely hard skill to learn in a crisis. So learn it first, learn it now, apply the 20 hours, get it out of the way early, build that pipeline. And if you deal with rejection long enough, you'll learn to love it, and it'll keep getting you 10 qualified meetings a week. And it'll help you lay the foundation of being a great business leader in your first company.